Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Pop Go the Writers. We got a fun show tonight. Lots of different things to talk about. Jim, how are you, sir?
I'm 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 doing good, although I understand that I'm missing the new trailer to Secret Invasion by being here. I want you to know my loyalty to this show is is solid.
Yeah, but you'd have to be watching baseball.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you
And
know
I
what? Like,
like baseball, and I still don't watch it.
listen, if there was one sport that I could be made to watch, it would be baseball. Yeah, if I had to admit to any one sport, baseball is really fun to watch, like when you're there.
Yes, I've had a lot of fun at ball games. I
Yeah.
grew up watching baseball. I used to watch, well, actually, I grew up listening to baseball.
Yep.
You know,
Same here.
when the
Yeah.
games were on here, I'd watch them. When they weren't on, I'd listen to them.
Yeah.
So, but I grew up listening to Vin Scully, which is in itself a national treasure. You know.
How many summer evenings did my dad go out and put the back down on the station wagon, and he'd sit on the back of that, and he'd have his transistor radio sitting right next to him, and the sounds of the baseball game coming over the radio, and even though I wasn't like into what was going on, there was just something very summery, about that. Good memories. He'd be listening to the Cleveland Indians.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. All right. Hello to everybody who's watching. Hopefully, more of you will join. We love more the merrier here. Please hit the like and thumbs up buttons. It would be appreciated. All right,
Especially when I talk.
we're gonna get right into the news. Right, we were talking about that because Secret Invasion. We do know that it's going to be starting June 1st. No, excuse me, June 21st
21st.
on Disney Plus.
Wait, what did I miss?
And we also know now, thanks to an interview with Samuel L. Jackson, what character Amelia Clark is playing, and it's not who a lot of people expected. The big rumor, or everybody was saying, it was going to be Amelia Brand, who's part of Sword and all that stuff. But
Abigail.
yeah, Abigail. Sorry,
No problem.
Abigail Brand. But she's actually going to be playing Gaia, the daughter of Talos, a Skrull
Yeah,
who is part of the resistance. And the basic plot we found out is going to be that back in Captain Marvel, which oddly enough, not planning it, I rewatched Captain Marvel last night. So it was very on my mind this morning
Yeah.
when it popped up. But in Captain Marvel, they promised to find the Skrulls a new home, and the Skrulls are a little tired of waiting. So a group of Skrulls, a small group of Skrulls, have been radicalized and are starting to infiltrate the government and doing their best to get the resources to do what they need to do. So it's like a terrorist cell of Skrulls. So not all the Skrulls are bad, but this is a little more in line with Secret Invasion from the comics.
Yeah.
Which I know a lot of people were kind of surprised by when we met the Skrulls in Captain Marvel, and they were the good guys. So yeah, they're coming back around now. So they're getting a twofer out of them. They're good guys here and bad guys there.
I figured we would have had to have seen some bad Skrulls at some point.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they couldn't all be good, right?
Yeah, and it's what 30 years later.
Yeah. So we actually met Gaia already as a little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's an adult now. My only question is, will we get Goose again?
Oh,
where is Goose? He's a critical part of the movie.
Only if Nick Fury scratches out Goose's eye will I accept a new Goose appearance.
So the trailer is now on Twitter. Thank you, Andrew.
And I'm here.
Well, we might be able to make that work. Hang on.
You know what? I didn't want to say it, Dan, but I was thinking to myself, we have the technology.
All right, let's see if we can make this work.
I remember eons ago we watched the trailer for Rings of Power while we were doing the show.
Yeah, I can do a lot of things. None of them well, but I'm good at a couple.
Right.
All right, let's see. Let's get that there.
Wouldn't you know it? They'd put it up right after we start the show.
All right, now what I got to do is share screen. That. Share screen. All right. We turn the volume up on it, and away we go.
Fury, since you've been gone, things have gotten much worse. Why do you think I came back?
You're in no shape for this fight that lies before us, old friend.
This is personal.
Very few of us know about the wars fought in the shadows that have raged on this planet. Do you feel responsible?
Where are the Avengers? This war is one I have to fight alone. You're the most wanted man on the planet.
You don't know what they have planned for you.
The great Nick Fury. One last fight.
The way that guy stretched his arm. Super Scroll?
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. Damn.
That's some intense stuff there, man.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That is interesting. We'll have to see how that plays out. By the way, Olivia Colman is supposedly playing like Lady Farnsworth, which of course ties into the character of Union Jack.
Yeah. Isn't she Spitfire? Or Jacqueline Farnsworth.
Yeah.
It's Spitfire.
I don't think she's playing Jacqueline Farnsworth, but she's probably the descendant of.
Okay, sure. But
Yeah.
I mean that as soon as you say that name, that's where that's who I think of. Wow.
Yeah. Both Union Jack and Spitfire. Yeah. So there's a relation there. So it'll be interesting to see if they go that direction. That's a character I would love to see. What's funny is I'm more interested in seeing Union Jack than I am seeing
I'd love to see Union Jack.
Yeah.
Closer and closer to the invaders.
Oh, I would love to see an Invader special.
Yep.
You don't need to do a full movie, but a special.
Yep.
Bring back Chris Evans, bring Tina Huerta, give us a Human Torch, Android Torch. We don't need the sidekicks.
No.
Yeah, we can live without Bucky or Toro.
Yeah.
And this could even take place. They could move it up to the Korean War, and that would then be back when Cap goes back in the past after Endgame. so it doesn't change any continuity. That's my thought. But, all right, so we got that to look forward to.
Yeah.
It's June. That's a couple movies away.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Indiana Jones is right before that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Guardians 3.
Yep. The day after my birthday. So, but
Flash.
I'm in the mood for a new Marvel TV series. Honestly,
Me too. It's been a long time. We haven't had one since She-Hulk.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, we had the
by
two
the time we get
specials.
to June, yeah, it's going to be a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right,
Good.
let's go ahead and switch to some Marvel news, and both the Fantastic Four movie and what was the other movie? Two movies have changed writers.
Oh, well, golly, I'm only thinking of Fantastic Four. Stop testing me like that.
Oh, two movies have changed writers.
Yeah.
This week, which is fascinating.
I don't like it.
I don't know. It sounds like maybe they're trying to pull everything in, you know?
Here's my thought about the Fantastic Four is I don't know, like they're nervous about it. It means it can be so many things to so many people.
Yeah.
And I think that they're overly concerned with the tone that they're going to hit with it. And
Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts is the other one.
Yeah, that's right. That again, I keep kind of picturing it as they're being nervous about it. That there's a concern that it's too big, that it can't fail. Maybe it's too big to fail. It was really bothersome to me to hear that happened, and I know that this happens to movies. I think what it is I don't like to hear about it on Marvel projects.
Yeah,
Marvel's always seemed in general that they're very sure of themselves, and things move along, but I don't know why, and I'm probably wrong. It just seems like nothing is going right on Fantastic Four, and I've said it before here and in other places. My confidence in it is dropping, and I don't want that to happen. But if my attitude is prevailing, and a lot of other people feel like that, maybe that's why Marvel is second guessing themselves on it, or
it could be something a little more simple, in that they change directors. They change directors, and when you're a director, you come in, maybe you want, it sounds like he's taking over a script that was already written. Mm-hmm. Maybe he wasn't available to come back, and Shackman wants to go a slightly different direction, or they've decided to go a slightly different direction. Mm-hmm. So they brought in another writer because that guy's not available now. He's moved on to another project.
No, let's see. Who is the new writer?
Oh,
which is the one that gets it's got two writers? Is that Thunderbolts they got?
Yeah, Thunderbolts with Jeff Kaplan and somebody else.
Okay.
And replaced with the writer who's doing Beef, that just debuted on Netflix. But he's teaming up with a director that he'd already worked with, that they did Beef together, along with Stephen Yeun, who is supposedly on board. And the rumor is he's going to play Sentry. So
you see the change on Fantastic Four as more somebody coming in to punch up a script rather than rewrite it totally.
I kind of got that feeling from the report, because it said working on a script originally from.
Yeah.
So it sounds like maybe it's just they wanted to change it up a bit and needed another writer since that guy is not available. Where the Thunderbolts one sounded more like a total change.
I know what it is. It's because of the whole Jonathan Majors thing, right? And they're rewriting every script that has anything to do with Kang.
I don't think they would.
I don't think so either.
I know, but I think what they're going to do is they're going to move forward with Kang, and if Jonathan Majors ends up being arrested or going to jail, they'll just recast him.
Yeah.
They won't hem or haw about it. They'll just find another good actor,
Yep.
put him in the role, and say that when he got pulled into the vortex, it messed him up.
Yeah. Or just not say anything at all and just
or do a roadie thing.
Yeah, right. Or Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah. Well, we don't know how they're going to handle Thunderbolt Ross because it haven't happened yet. But Don Cheadle replacing Terrence Howard, there was that moment he walks in and goes, "It's me, get over it."
Right.
It's like telling the audience.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they're going to have any explanation about Ross. I think it's literally, I mean, they might have a little funny, joke or something. The a la George Lazenby on Her Majesty's Secret Service saying, "This never happened to the other guy." and then they just go on. Yeah. Right. Or
the best is still the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Because the mom left the show for a while and was replaced with another actress. And then she came back. And throughout the whole episode, when she came back, DJ Jazzy Jeff, kept walking past her going, "Did you change your hair? You look different. Something is different about." So he's the only one that acknowledges it, but he does it through the entire episode.
Okay.
So, all right, let's go ahead and move on to the topic I didn't tell you about.
Okay. I'm braced.
Okay. Well, first, there was a report that came out that said, I'm going to read the report. It's easier.
Okay.
Dr. Sleep filmmaker Mike Flanagan has pitched a feature version of Clayface over at Warner Brothers DC Studios. Several sources tell Deadline. However, no word on greenlight yet, and the studio has not said no. There are no offers and no deals, though typically DC supervillain in Flanagan's pick, should it move forward, he wouldn't be the bad guy, so we hear. Word is that Flanagan and his Intrepid Pictures partners Trevor Macy had meetings with DC bosses James Gunn and Peter Safran. Flanagan, we understand, wasn't pitching the character to be part of Matt Reeves' DC Elseworld, the Batman 2 set for October 3rd, 2025. That said, other sources are telling us that scripts are constantly changing and that Clayface is a big addition to Matt Reeves' Batman 2. That's the important thing right there. Now, you've seen the Batman, right?
No.
Okay, you know about it.
Yes, thank you. Yes. I know, a fair deal about it. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That is a very grounded type of Batman movie.
Yes, indeed.
Big muck monster doesn't seem to make sense.
No.
But there are 3 versions or variations of Clayface that could work.
Mm-hmm.
One, of course, is the original, created by Bill Finger and Bob Kane, all the way back in 1940, Basil Karloff. And all these are variations of Basil Karloff, who, of course, they got the name from putting together Basil Rathbone and Boris Karloff. So Basil Karloff. In his original thing, he's a B-movie actor whose best film, Dread Castle, is being remade. It angers him, and he starts dressing up like the villain Clayface that he had played in the movie and started killing them off in order until he gets to the guy who'd be replacing him.
Yeah, and it's literally just like it's like this sort of dark, thick makeup that he puts over his face. It's not, I mean, maybe like clay, in a way, but that's pretty much all it is, right?
Right. And that type of story would work in a very grounded Batman.
Yeah,
it would sound very interesting. Okay. The second version is when they redid they did DC Rebirth, and Carlo becomes a handsome young actor who is disfigured in a car accident, and he's using a chemical called Renew along with some clay and putty to rebuild his face. But the Renew ends up running out, and he starts having to try to steal replacement because it's a discontinued product. And he ends up in a shootout with the police, gets splashed with all of it, and that's when he can start changing his face. Now,
Here, I thought you were going to talk about the Silver Age version, which is Matt Hagen and his pool of muck that he finds in a cave.
I'm trying to think of how we could avoid the muck.
I know. Sure. But you know what? Even that Rebirth one sounds pretty fantastical for
A little sci-fi, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, one last version.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the one that I think is right in your alley. March 9th, 1966. The Batman series. Basil Karloff is in the show, but not as Clayface. He's Falseface.
Oh, yes. Okay, I was like, where are you going with this?
Played
Yes.
by Malachi Throne,
Mm-hmm.
who did not want his name attached to it, though they did put it in the second half at the end only.
Yeah.
It was a question mark all the other times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And here his real name was also Basil Karloff. He was a professional criminal who stole and ingested a chemical formula that after he drank it gave him the ability to mimic the appearance of anyone he wished, but he gained the ability at a dual cost both of losing his own identity and forgetting how to look like himself. And he ended up wearing a plastic mask, which was casting of his original face. Now,
that's not actually in the show. That whole background is not actually in the show. They must. I'm wondering where they came. I wonder if they came up with that for the Batman 66 comic books. Maybe.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, because it's not actually. All it is in the show is that he wears a plastic mask and nobody knows who he is, and he can quickly change it to look like other people. But
yeah,
that's very interesting. I wonder where that came from.
I'm fascinated by the fact that they used the name Falseface, which was like a one-time, one-shot Batman in the comics.
Yeah, it's very loosely based on that one story.
Yeah, and that's one-time villain named Falseface from 1956, who was a master of disguise but had no superpowers of any kind. Mm-hmm. And he didn't have a name.
There's also another Clayface in the comics from the 70s, maybe like mid to later 70s. And he's literally melting, and he has to be in a special suit, or he'll. But he takes his glove. Yes, and he takes his glove off, and if he touches other people, it's almost like a disease that he can transfer to others, and then they melt. Basically. So there's that Clayface, and that's all before the DC Rebirth thing. I could see just a guy with some makeup on or whatever, or just the nickname Clayface being in the Matt Reeves thing, but other than that, I can't imagine anything else. And then again, what is it? It said that it might have been a full movie all by himself. Like
another director wants to do a movie on him as a horror movie.
Yeah, that's called Venom. Right?
In a way.
Yeah, I mean, right, but just like Harley Quinn is Deadpool.
Yeah. But my thought is that, do you remember The Avenger?
Oh yes. He's from the pulp magazines, in the 30s and the 40s.
Now he had the ability to reshape his face.
Yeah, he had totally white skin, and he had the ability that he could like push his face and do different things with it. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm thinking they could do something like that using, one variation or another of those origins we just talked about, without it getting so bizarre that we got a giant muck monster running around.
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe that's why he didn't go with the Joker right off the bat, because the Joker would have been too bizarre for what he wanted to do.
I think it's mainly because we've seen so much of the Joker.
Okay.
We got him in the Dark Knight, and then we got him again in the Zack Snyder stuff and the Suicide Squad.
we don't know who the villain is in the second one. Is that right?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's not supposed to be the Joker. Now they did set the character up. We do meet the Joker, but we hear him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's going to be saved for maybe the third movie or something like that.
No.
So and when you're going through Batman villains, there aren't that many that haven't been in live action. You know, that haven't been in one of the major movies. Live action, of course, most of them have been in.
Yeah, I was going to say you're starting to really, you know, who would fit that universe better is the Scarecrow.
But they just used him in Batman Begins.
Oh, did they?
You didn't watch any of the Batman movies, have you?
I've seen all the Batman movies except for this most recent one. Wait, Batman Begins. Oh, you're right. He is in Yes, yeah. But he's not the main bad guy, and that's, I mean, to say just used in Batman Begins. Batman Begins was like how many years ago now?
I realize it, but still, it's still fresh enough that the current moviegoers know what it is.
That's true. Well, then that's a shame, because then they can't do Ra's al Ghul either, and that's, you know, can be fairly grounded if you don't do the Lazarus Pit stuff, you know.
But there are so many grounded Batman characters they could do.
Yeah, Tweedledum, Tweedledee. Yeah,
they've never done the Mad Hatter.
In Gotham they did, and that was really good too. That guy did a really, really good job with that.
Benedict Samuel.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they could do that, I suppose. I mean, it's a shtick in a way, but but all Batman villains are basically shtick,
Yeah. I'd like to see him stay away from the superpowered stuff.
Yeah, well, for what they're doing, yeah, I guess that that would be the best thing to do. So they've already got the Riddler out of the way, they already got Catwoman out of the way, and they already got Penguin out of the way.
Right.
I mean, if you don't do the Joker, then the ventriloquist.
The ventriloquist, Louis the Lilac.
King Tut.
King Tut. Mockingbird. Was it Mockingbird? No.
There is a Mockingbird, yeah.
With the hair that goes, yeah.
Yeah, that's a John Byrne thing. Yeah, she's not very prominent.
No.
In fact, I don't know if she's ever been back since the New 52 or any of that stuff. I'm trying to think of who else that. There's so many, like Calendar Man,
Kite Man.
We've already done Mr. Polka Dot or
Condiment King. The Rainbow Raider. No, Crazy Quilt.
Raider.
Crazy Quilt. That's it.
Crazy Quill. Technically a Robin villain, but
yeah.
Yeah, the Calculator. We're coming up with all these weird 70s things. Dr. Zin.
Hugo Strange.
Well, okay. I mean, there you go. Hugo Strange.
Yeah.
I mean, you just hit it. Literally, there you go. I mean, that's perfect.
And what's funny is you could have Hugo Strange messing with his mind, and you could actually do some of these more outlandish villains, saying that they're all imagination in his head.
Well, the famous Hugo Strange storyline from the 70s is that he completely took over both the identity of Bruce Wayne and Batman. So that's the Silver St. Cloud time, and then you could do the Silver St. Cloud story for that matter.
Yeah.
Once you've gotten Catwoman out of the way, Silver St. Cloud is considered to be one of the women in Bruce Wayne's life. I mean, she literally finds out that he's Batman and then has to leave town. Well, she decides to leave town, actually.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, to do that whole storyline, there's some great Joker stuff in there too, but that's the Marshall Rogers stuff.
Right.
You know.
So there's a lot of potential out there they could do without having to do
Absolutely.
the big powered villains, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to get into Poison Ivy and Clayface and Killer Croc and
Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be able to fudge Mr. Freeze enough to make him fit.
I suppose if you didn't really call him Mr. Freeze, you know, but
Yeah, just
unless you jokingly call him Mr. Freeze.
or you give him the last name of Freeze, Freis. Freeze.
Right.
Dr. Freeze.
In the movie The Batman, did they literally say the name Riddler?
I think they did.
Okay.
And they say the Penguin.
They really, but probably more as like a joking around as a nickname for.
Yeah, it's a mob name for him.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, okay.
And they call him the Riddler because they don't know who he is. That's kind of the name he gets.
Is the Penguin's name in the movie Oswald Cobblepot?
Yeah.
It's Cobblepot, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm surprised. Yeah, it's a classic.
But from what I understand, that the Riddler is not Edward Nygma, right?
It's Edward Nashton.
I mean,
but he has that name in the comics too.
Huh?
He has that name in the comics as well.
I know, but you know what? No, his name is Edward Nygma. It's Enigma. That's just too much for Matt.
I thought it was Nashton first, and then it became Nygma.
No. Edward Nygma is in the very first Riddler story in like 1949 or whatever it is. No, that Nashton thing is way later because somebody got embarrassed about the name Edward Nygma.
Well, you know who Edward Nashton is, right?
Is that an artist?
No, he created he invented the crossword puzzle.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. Yeah. No, I did not know that. No. Mm-hmm. I think Enigma is better. That he went down that path because his name was literally Enigma.
Yeah, but I mean that's why they went a little less silly, and that's why they went with Nashton.
Yeah,
but it wasn't established.
Fine.
Yeah, but it was an established name from the comics.
Yes, I hear you. I hear you.
It's not like suddenly they're calling Bruce Wayne Bruce Erickson, you know.
No, or changing his first name, you know.
Yes. Well, you know the Scandinavian market, because I believe the word Bruce is actually the word bubbles in Scandinavian. Somebody told me that long ago. I've never checked it, but Bubbles Wayne sounds like a great name for a Batman.
Bubbles, yeah, or a stripper.
It's like the Chevy Nova when they were selling it down in Mexico. It took them a while to realize we're going to need to change the name. Why? Nova means no go. It doesn't go. So, all right. But yeah, I thought bringing up Falseface from the Batman series would be interesting.
Yes, I appreciate it very much. He never came back. He just had that one episode, and which is a shame because I really liked that episode. That's early. That's first season. That's fairly early in first season, too.
I guess the actor was not happy with how it went.
No, they promised him that the whole the face thing was going to be a lot better, and he said they just cheaped out and had this really almost like bought off the shelf clear plastic mask, and that's why he said he had to try to do more things with his hands to be more expressive. But there was some really fun things that happened at that time. Is that when it was on, people were really speculating as to who it was, and there was all these wild guesses, you know, in the public. It's Frank Sinatra, and you know, so on and so forth. And here it turns out to be the fairly unknown Malachi Throne. But he does a really good job with it. But it is just a shame that you know he's so hidden behind that plastic mask. But I really like what he does, and he has a really interesting mall also in that episode. But again, it's a real shame that they weren't able to bring the character back.
I will admit I do not know anything that Malachi Throne has done.
You know, many years later, he was in Star Trek: The Next Generation. In the episodes, he played a Romulan. In the episodes, I think it's the ones where Spock is in there. They got Leonard Nimoy in there, and Malachi Throne is in that as the Romulan. I mean, he's done many other things, but yeah, but in '66 he would not have been a household name, even though he had guest appearances in TV and and stuff like that. And that's what kind of maybe blew everybody away, is they're all thinking again it's Frank Sinatra, and here, no, it's not Frank Sinatra. It's a guy you might never have heard of.
Yeah. Great name though, Malachi Throne.
Yeah, isn't that great? I just love it.
That's a great 60s name,
And he was one of the was with us for quite a while. He was on a very, up until more recently, he was on a very short list of the actors who played a main villain that were still alive. But I think he did finally pass away, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a tiny handful of them left now.
I can think of John Aston. That's about it.
John Aston is one of them. Julie Newmar, of course, and weirdly enough, Glynis Johns. She played Lady Penelope Pea Soup
Yes.
in the Londinium episodes,
Yes.
along with Lord Marmaduke Fogg, which was Rudy Valley. If I'm not mistaken, Barbara Rush is still with us too, and she was Nora Clavicle in third season. Other than that, Zsa Zsa's gone now. She was on that list for quite a while, but Zsa Zsa's gone.
Yeah.
John Aston and Julie Newmar. I mean,
we're way off topic here, but I got to
sorry. You bring up 66 Batman, and I'm there, man.
But see, now you got me want to ask a question.
Okay.
They say that there was a script for a Two-Face movie episode, or that he was being considered.
It was a pitch by Harlan Ellison.
Okay,
and it never made it to script, but it was a story outline and a pitch. And the rumor was that it was going to be Clint Eastwood. I've looked into that, and where he was at that time, he was I don't see him doing that. Number one, he wouldn't have been very well known. He was
right.
Well, I think he was just starting maybe to do the spaghetti westerns. I can't remember. It's right around that time.
Well, you haven't gotten to my question. So
okay, I'm sorry.
Now, they did the animated version of 66 with 2 episodes, one of them having William Shatner play, which is a dream for me because I always wanted William Shatner and Adam West to be in a conversation together.
Yeah, me too. They really should have done something.
Well, they did do that Rome pilot years ago.
Yes, Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my question is, knowing what you know about the series, and at the time, had they actually moved forward, who do you think they should have gotten to be Two-Face?
That I've never really put a whole lot of thought to it, and I'm not saying that Clint Eastwood couldn't have done it. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure who. I don't think they would have done it. I think that the disfigurement would have not have fit in, or they would have really had to have changed who and what. The shtick would have worked fantastic for the show with everything in twos. But the disfigurement with acid would not have fit well into the show. But I was going to say Two-Face didn't have that many appearances by then, but neither did the Riddler. The Riddler had 3 appearances,
right, and one of them happened to be the month that they were deciding what to do.
Yeah.
The name that comes to mind for me that I think would have been getting popular around that time and might have been a big enough actor, but not too big, would have been George Papard.
I would not say no to that.
And I think he would have done a great job with it.
Yeah. Let's see. I wonder how old he was in 60, let's say 67, George Peppard.
Find that out.
You know who would have been interesting, even though he would have been doing a TV series at that time, is the guy that played Don West on Lost in Space.
Yeah, that would have been good.
And that's terrible. I can't think of his name. Mark.
Peppard was born in 1928, so 38, 48, 58, 68. He would have been 38.
Oh, okay. Well, then he would have been a good age for it then.
Yeah.
Mark Goddard, who, like I said, he would have been on Lost in Space at that time, but still. They're speculating of who could have played villains on the 66 TV show can be very fun. Like, there for Poison Ivy, who would have been perfect for that show, and at that time, it's Anne Margaret or nobody.
That's who I was thinking too.
Yeah, she was like born to play that role.
Yeah, Peppard was around enough. He had done How the West Was Won, The Victors, The Carpetbaggers.
Yeah.
Operation Crossbow. So he had done enough stuff that he would have been right in that sweet spot.
Yeah. Well, villains on that show were either people who had already had incredible careers by that point, or up and comers. Frank Gorshin is a perfect example there. Again, he was not a household name, and yet he got to play a major, villain on that show. He was known as he did impersonations, and I think he might have done some Vegas at that point or whatever. So he's a really good example. And then you get people like Burgess Meredith and Cesar Romero, who had also already had incredible careers by that point. Julie Newmar wasn't as well known, but she had definitely done a lot of stuff by that point.
It seems like the bigger names, other than Burgess Meredith and Cesar Romero, but the big names were one-offs, villains that would come in for one episode, one two-parter. And
Tallulah Bankhead as the Black Widow is a good example.
Milton Berle.
Yeah, right. Well, he did it twice. Louis Lilac has two appearances, right? Yeah, and then you get like Roddy McDowell as the Bookworm, who literally he's my favorite one-off villain, and really should have come back, and they never had another Bookworm episode. He is so fantastic in that role.
Is there any truth to the fact they did the Bookworm episode because of the problems with Frank Gorshin? They couldn't get him, so they switched the character first before they went to John Astin?
No, that's the Puzzler. That's
okay.
Morris Evans as the Puzzler. That was written as a Riddler episode, and they rewrote it for the Puzzler because it's practically the same thing. And that's Morris Evans, who of course is Dr. Zaius.
Yeah.
In Planet of the Apes. And then they got John Astin to play the Riddler again because they couldn't get Gorshin. And then they did get Frank Gorshin to come back for one episode of third season. I think it's like the second or third episode of third season, where they were able to get him to come back, and that was all supposedly over money.
Yeah. All right, we need to move on, though. That's a great topic.
Well, we'll just have to do a whole episode of it. We've got the Star Wars episode. Now we've got the Batman 66 episode to keep teasing people with.
All right, let's talk about the Mandalorian.
Okay.
So we did get the pirates back, which I thought could have come back, might have been introduced for the skeleton crew. Turns out they came back. Mm-hmm. This episode seemed to kind of pull all the strings together.
Yeah.
Everything we've been laying out. Plus, we got the return of Carson Tevye and the live-action debut of Zeb Orrelios from the Rebels, which looks pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I agree too. Now, me not being familiar with Rebels, I knew there was somebody like that. And when he comes on the screen, I'm going, isn't that guy from that one of those animated shows? And we can't really say he made his live action debut because he is still animated. So
He's
he's an
CGI,
animated character who made his animated debut in a live action show, but not actually live action himself. But yeah, I thought he was really cool and looked really great.
It's an interesting design. The race is called Lasat, Lasat, and they're based on one of the original concept designs for Chewbacca.
Chewbacca, yeah, very, very cool. Am I wrong? But isn't the Rebels the droid that they have, the astromech droid? Is that somewhere? I saw a screen grab. That is he? Can you see him somewhere in there? Somewhere? What's the name of their little astromech droid in Rebels?
Chopper?
Yeah. Is Chopper in the scene somewhere?
I didn't notice, and I haven't seen anybody talking about it.
You should do a search
I'll go back and
sometime
look,
on
yeah.
that and see.
Now there are 3 X-wing pilots at the bar that we've seen before.
Yep, Dave and Deborah and yeah, that's it. Yeah,
the 3 pilots from the prison escape episode.
I didn't even really notice them when I watched the episode. I had to be told later that they're in there because they just pretty much zoom right by them, you know.
Yeah, but it's a neat little the thing. And then I guess there's a problem in one clip. There's this older woman talking to an alien over here, and like a beat later, she's sitting in a chair with somebody else over in the front, like other side of the bar. It's like, damn, that woman's fast.
No, it's twins. It's just like the twins in the cantina in the first Star Wars movie.
There you go, twins,
sisters.
So, what did you think of the episode with all the pirate action?
I really loved it. As soon as it was over, I posted on my Facebook. That's some goddamn Star Wars right there. I mean, I love that we can do all these different things, but every once in a while they just give us pure, unadulterated Star Wars. Like that Star Wars feeling is there, and that's what I really loved about it. My only disappointment in the whole thing is I was convinced that they were going to take over the pirate ship, because they could have really have used that ship. And here's me going on. I'm like, okay, they're going to do a drop of the guys. The other half of the Mandalorians are going to drop on the pirate ship, and they're going to, beat the pirates and get rid of them and claim that ship. No. We're just going to blow it up. We're just going to crash it and blow it up. I am still going back and forth with every scene that Bo-Katan is in and still saying, what is this woman's deal? I cannot figure her. And now I'm doing the same thing with the armor. Like, I can't trust anybody with a mask on, with a helmet on anymore.
Except for Din. You can trust Din.
I can. I'm not sure now if the armor is playing some big game here, right?
Yeah, but you know what? The thing that I've noticed with the stuff that Filoni and Favreau are doing, they don't do a lot of twists and turns and and backstabs and double crosses, and there's a little bit here and there, but it's pretty obvious. Once a hero is on a path, they tend to be on the path.
That's true. Speaking of which, there was something funny that happened in this, and I thought it was a big, huge moment, and I guess it turned out to be nothing. I can't think of his Pierre. Is it Pierre Vizsla?
Paz
Vizsla. He comes to Bo-Katan and says she's being called. The armorer wants. But what does he say? I swear to God, he said a name. So and so wants to talk to you.
He said the armorer.
Okay. So
no, I think he just says she wants to see you.
I swear it's longer. It's a longer word than that. Okay, 2 things, because number one, I thought, oh, wait, did we just hear her name? And then nobody said anything afterwards, so I said, I must have heard it wrong. And then I said, well, if he said the armorer, that's the very first time that word has been used ever.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to go back and rewatch that then.
Whatever he said didn't stand out to me that it was something we hadn't
I
heard
don't think
before.
it's as short of a word as she wants to talk to you. I thought it, it's longer than that. I thought, wow, did we just hear her name? But again, obviously so are you, given what we got in that episode, do you still feel it's that one character that you've talked about before?
Yeah, I'm hanging on to that for now.
Okay. I think I'm seeing other, like some of those people who make the videos, the speculation videos and stuff like that. I think I'm seeing things like that from them too. That says
it makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
And explains why she's the only one with the horns on her helmet.
Yeah. I almost thought she was going to take off her helmet and that maybe it was going to be a thing where we're behind her and we don't see who it is, but Bo-Katan sees who it is and gives one of those like you kind of looks, because Bo-Katan would know her, isn't that right?
Yes.
That character. Okay.
Yeah, they've fought in the past.
Okay.
So I still think it's a possibility. And Sked, the fact that we have not seen who this woman is, we don't get her name.
Yeah.
We've never gotten her name. And the fact that you have an American actress being asked to give a British accent.
Right. Yeah, exactly right. Now, let me ask you this. Does, what's her name? What the actress's name?
Emily Swallow.
Does she look anything like what the animated character would? I mean, or does that not?
She doesn't have the short hair that the character has.
Okay.
But
the hair, hair can be fixed.
But yeah, I mean, she doesn't not look like her.
Okay, good. I liked Bo-Katan's reaction when she was asked to remove her helmet, because I think it can go kind of both ways. It was either that she almost seemed sort of like shy or embarrassed, like she had really kind of gotten used to that. But there was a really good sense of, wait a minute, you've just told me one thing and now you're telling me another thing, kind of a thing here.
Right.
So that was all played very well. And even when she walks out,
he's kind of sheepish about it.
Yeah, which was really cool. And again, it's like I don't think I can trust Bo-Katan at all.
See, now for me, that was the selling point. Okay. Because she has finally found a group that she belongs to. They've accepted her. They're treating her as one, not because of what she might do for them. They've already accepted her, and part of their way is to keep the helmets on, so she doesn't want to be ostracized again. She just lost her entire followers or her group because she couldn't get the Darksaber.
Right.
So the fact that they were accepting her and following her and giving her a place of honor in this thing for her actions, I think she really kind of became part of it, was like finally starting to feel like she had a home. And now they're working on, building a homestead on Navarro.
Yeah.
So, and then suddenly she's asked to remove her helmet, but for what appears to be a good reason, is to bring all Mandalorians together, whether they follow the way specifically or not.
Do you see her and the armor being at odds in the future? Or is this happy family thing going to continue?
I'm starting to think it might actually continue.
Okay.
I wouldn't have said that up until now. I would have expected it to be a big showdown between the two. Yeah. But now with who we now found out is out there still, I think that's going to be the big bad.
And wait a minute. Okay, so you're saying they don't generally do these big twists or surprises. So the whole thing with the Beskar thing is they're being set up. It's not really some Mandalorians who did that, right?
Oh, definitely not.
Okay, because you say that.
Well, no, there's something that a lot of people are forgetting. The Dark Troopers that Moff Gideon made were made of Beskar.
Oh. Maybe I've forgotten that.
So if they're punching their way into ships and stuff, they would leave the trace of Beskar.
Now, see, I looked at it as it was planted on purpose to implicate the Mandalorians. And you know what? The guy, not our captain guy, but the guy he's talking to on on the communicator, whatever. He makes quite a leap. And, I mean, are you telling me that it was Mandalorians? I would have said, no, I'm not really saying that. I'm just saying it's a piece of Beskar.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no. Immediately I went, wait a minute, and I looked it up and like, yeah, the Dark Troopers were made of Beskar.
Very, very, very interesting. I'm hoping that I can't think of the captain's name.
Tevye.
I'm thinking that he's going to be smart enough to not make that leap himself, or at least start investigating it, but not paint them as guilty. So who do you think Bo-Katan goes to first now with her new mission?
Probably her old crew.
That's what I'm thinking, right?
Axe Wolves and all those guys, yeah.
Yes, right, because they're still alive as far as we know.
Right. And they have a big ship, which would allow her to travel around and try to get more of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So does she take Din with her?
I would, because now you have somebody trying to, bring them together, and you have somebody standing next to her who has the Darksaber. So if they're working together, if he's working as like the hand of the king type of thing, then I could see that getting people to join in.
Plus, I would think that now that, she knows where the Darksaber is, she's going to want to keep that close at hand.
Right.
And if it happens to be that it's this guy that's carrying it, then... So what I want to know is now that she's gotten special dispensation from the Pope to eat, meat on Fridays and take her helmet off, does that extend to Din if he goes out with her? Or will she at least suggest that to him,
Yeah. Well, no, actually, I think he would keep his helmet on, because where she would pull in them, he would be able to pull in the true believers.
That's what I would think. Yes. Yeah. And they're because they're the perfect representation of the two faces, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A video online. We're going to end with this. It was an animated version of Bo-Katan and Din Djarin talking, and little Grogu, and she turns to Din and goes, if neither one of us find anybody in the next 10 years, he goes, yeah. She goes, we should totally, and they both say, hunt each other for sport? Absolutely.
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah. So, all right. We're going to have to wrap it up. Anything big coming up this week for you?
No, I have to go now and watch my daily episode of Doctor Who because I'll be recording my podcast on Wednesday, and we're working through the Web Planet, the 6-part Web Planet episode.
Is that John Pertwee as the Doctor?
No, we're still in the William Hartnell. We're in season 2, and that's still William Hartnell.
Oh, it's a Spiders episode.
It's the Zarbi. The Zarbi are in this one, and they look like giant ants.
Yeah. Well, you enjoy that. This Dan Wickline show this week. I guess I'm supposed to have a guest from Humanoids, but they haven't told me who it is yet. I'm going to be doing a rewatch of. I did the rewatch of Captain Marvel. We're going to be talking about it and how it ties into Secret Invasion, and then I'll be talking about the Mandalorian next episode on Thursday. So
I have to say it, only 3 episodes left.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Jim, good to see you. We will catch up next week.
All right.
And